I think something we can all agree with is that pedophiles shouldn't have a platform on YouTube. There have been many people who take advantage of the power they have as an internet personality to do some pretty disgusting shit, Austin Jones and Lionmaker being perfect examples of this. And I think it's very important that people are called out if they ever use their power to take advantage of minors. But when pedophile allegations are overblown and even false at times, yeah, I'd obviously have an issue with that. Which brings me to CallMeCarson, a popular YouTuber who used to have the respect of most of the YouTube community until about a month ago. He had an almost perfect reputation, and you wouldn't find anyone that would have anything negative to say about him. Well, until now anyways. For the past month, he has been ridiculed for supposedly grooming a minor and getting nudes from them by the widespread community. The situation is confusing, overblown, and not handled well at all. And I plan to discuss that all in this video. Before I start, I would like to ask that you please watch this video to the end before forming an opinion about it, or what I'm saying here. Thanks, and now to the video. One of the first major problems in this situation was the initial drama alert coverage. On January 4th, a drama alert episode came out where Keemstar interviewed Carson's friends about an allegation that he was sexting minors. Despite what you may think, Keemstar wasn't the reason that the initial coverage was a problem. When Carson's friends Travis and Noah were talking about the situation in the interview, all they knew was what Carson had allegedly told them, that he sexted a minor.
One day in March, he called me, and I picked up the phone, and he was basically like, I have to tell you something, and then he told me that he did underage girls, and I think that he said that they were fans.
Did he tell you how old they were?
At the time, no.
At the end of the day, you guys do kind of have proof, right?
I mean, yeah, that he told all of us at the same time. I mean, I'm sure that when this is posted, none of them are going to deny that this is the truth, because, I mean, they were there. I don't think they have any real reason to lie.
They didn't even know the girl's age, let alone did they have any other evidence to prove their point other than their word, which is a problem. There have been times where not enough credible evidence has come out about an allegation, people end up taking the story at face value, and the person accused almost gets their career ruined, only to find out later that the person is innocent. This is why people nowadays always push for more evidence to come out before believing claims, and wait for both sides of the story to come out. If your story does not have enough credible evidence to back it up, why should anyone believe you? The only thing that could give their claims any credibility is if an actual victim of Carson came out with their story, which did in fact happen. A tweet thread made by one of Carson's supposed victims was posted a few hours after the drama alert, with her calling him a pedophile and a groomer. Now, the word grooming seems to be used as a buzzword a lot nowadays when it comes to allegations like this, but people seem to forget what the word actually means. The definition varies from where you look, but generally it is when someone builds a relationship, trust, and emotional connection with a child or young person so they can manipulate, exploit, and abuse them. Carson was 19 years old and the victim was 17. There was only a 2-year age gap there. It is very possible that Carson could have used his power to pressure the girl to get nudes, but there's no evidence of any actual manipulation in the screenshots. And even if there were, the word grooming still wouldn't be the right word if we were looking at this definition. Anyone calling what Carson did grooming or pedophilia is just flat out wrong. And before someone comes into my comment section telling me that even if you're 18 years old you can be groomed, just stop commenting before you embarrass yourself. I'm gonna be fair here though. Carson did acknowledge in the actual messages with the victim that sexting her was a bad idea, and that he needed a 17-year-old to talk to. I don't know the proper context of these messages, so I don't know if these messages are being made to look worse or not, but they're weird. It doesn't make what he did deplorable though. The only thing people can fall back on now is that Carson did allegedly get nudes from the girl. Now, this is illegal, I'm not denying that, but it doesn't add any credibility to the fact that Carson is supposedly a pedophile or a groomer, because again, there was a 2-year age gap there. The last thing I want to go over is the second allegation towards Carson, about him sexting dating a 17-year-old girl when he was 20. And much of my argument about the first accusation applies here, so I'm gonna say that I didn't think this is very bad and move the fuck on. Overall, people took this way too seriously. You can criticize him for the power dynamic, but ruining his career over this is just fucking stupid. And that's all I have to say for this section. Moving on. For the next part of this video, I want to go over different responses that the members of Carson's group Lunch Club posted about the situation, and some statements from Carson's other friends as well. Starting off with Slime's single statement, which kind of confused me. Slime stated that in early 2020, him and the other Lunch Club members were told about Carson sexting minors. He then proceeded to call the FBI because he suspected that a crime had been committed, and left the Lunch Club due to him not wanting to be associated with Carson. Now, what he is saying here doesn't seem to be much of an issue at first, until you look into it more. In the initial Drama Alert episode that brought the story to the public, Noah Hugbox had stated that Carson had told him about the sexting minor situation in early March of 2020. If we were to believe what Noah said was true, then Slime didn't stop associating with Carson immediately despite what he said. Slime has been seen interacting with Carson on Twitter since then, with his last interaction with Carson being in June of 2020. 3 months after he left Lunch Club due to Carson. And in Carson's video, I hosted a terrible online game show, which was posted on August 27th, 2020. Slime also appeared there. He also never unfollowed Carson on Twitter. In fact, to this day, he is still following Carson, which I find strange. I understand that following someone on Twitter isn't an endorsement, but I don't think you would want to be following someone you called the fucking FBI on. One point that I've seen is that Slime wouldn't want to stop following Carson because fans would start to become suspicious. And to that I say, wouldn't they already be suspicious of Carson and Slime when they were no longer speaking publicly since June? Maybe unfollowing him would cause more of an issue, but there's an easy way to handle that. Just say that you and Carson won't be working together anymore. Sure, some people would start to speculate, but most people would understand. I'm not trying to discredit Slime here, by the way. These were just some things that I personally had an issue with. The next response I want to go over is Jay Schlatt's video, which also has some inconsistencies. What I do like from his response is him addressing why he stayed associated with Carson after he was told what Carson had done. What I didn't like, however, is how vague he was being with a lot of his statements. I understand that Schlatt would be afraid of Carson suing him, and that's why he would want to be vague, but it doesn't make the video any less confusing. Certain statements made this video spout out several more questions than answers. For instance, he said that Carson wasn't improving where he should have been. The meaning of this is vague, but it implies that Carson hasn't stopped the sexting since he had done it in 2019. If you go back into the initial Drama Alert interview though, Travis and Noah said they had no idea if Carson had done this again or not. The story is inconsistent, and there is no evidence to back it up. The only incidents that have come out to the public since then were from 2019. If you can't get your story straight, why should people trust you as a credible source for these allegations? I see this a lot where people would trust one person's side just because they were close to the person being accused, and not because of any actual evidence. While being close to someone does make them just a little bit more credible with these allegations, if they provide no evidence, it's best to just take it with a grain of salt. Moving on, one of the other statements I had an issue with is what he said about the Kate situation. The line, "despite what we felt about the Kate situation," is vague. It would give the viewers watching this video more questions than answers. It is important to note that around the time this video came out, allegations started to come out that the Kate situation wasn't as it seemed. That allegedly, Kate didn't cheat on Carson and they were never in a relationship. Now, there isn't any hard evidence of this being true, so I'm not going to say anything definitive, but I feel like if you are going to make a video statement like this, you need to be as clear as possible as to what is going on. Being vague about certain things doesn't help your case, it just brings more speculation. That being said, I didn't think Jay Schlatt's video was terrible. I just wish he was more clear with the things he was being vague about. The rest of the Lunch Club statements were fine enough, so I won't go into detail about them here, but what I will go over is how It's Joko, one of Carson's former friends, responded. He made a tweet supposedly proving that the first allegation of sexting minors was real by showing a confession from Carson, And that is fine enough. I'm glad he is actually providing evidence, but what I do have an issue with is this tweet where he insinuates that Carson is a predator. Saying something like this can be very damaging to someone's career, and it doesn't even apply here with what Carson did. What we do know is that Carson was sexting a 17-year-old fan at 19 years old. The messages that are available do not show any predatory behavior. The only thing close to that is him asking girls for nudes, which isn't inherently predatory. Over this entire situation, terms that don't apply to this situation have been used to paint Carson in the worst light possible. And while I don't think Joko is being malicious, and he probably knows more than the general public, he should know better than to misuse words like this, especially when someone's career is at stake. There was one more statement from a former friend of Carson, which is about a whole different drama from back in 2018, but I'll let my friend Phantom discuss that one.
A YouTuber, well, now ex-YouTuber, known as a narrator here, was a friend of Carson, and he made a podcast with Carson and Raccoon Eggs called the Solitary Confinement Podcast. Narrator made a video about his experience with Carson, and it doesn't have any grooming allegations towards Carson, but rather Carson being a total asshole. Carson hijacked the podcast and calling Narrator an asshole, but you should subscribe to him. Narrator also said that Carson was making fun of him while Narrator was having a manic episode. And a lot of YouTubers, and even I, supported the Narrator because I actually believed him, and Altrive and Josh both said while talking to Carson that this was true. But like Carson with the grooming allegations, Narrator himself was also outed as a groomer. He stalked a minor named Riley and was salty when Riley was dating someone. And he even showed his bare ass to someone when they did not consent at all. This allegation is 50-50 and we don't know if this is true or false, but it would be incredibly fucked if Narrator did this. And out of the three, I really hope that Raccoon Eggs doesn't fall under any of these allegations, because that would be disappointing to see. Anyways, I'm Phantom. Go subscribe to DeadMemeFrog, because frog lives matter, and if you don't, I will cry.
To conclude this video off, I want to ask why people choose to give certain people a pass, but they won't let what someone else did slide. For instance, Red Kiwis is a YouTuber that is generally liked outside of the commentary community. He was exposed a few years ago for doing way worse shit than Carson, yet people still seem to give him a pass, which is very odd. The double standards that people have for allegations like this are fucking mind-boggling. If you are gonna cancel someone for doing something, do it to someone else who has done far worse and actually deserves to be held accountable. At least be consistent. To this day, which is about 2 months after the initial allegations came out, Carson still hasn't responded. I don't know if he will respond, but I'd argue that he may not be able to come back from this. He let his friends take control of the narrative, whether they were being malicious or not, and it painted a very bleak image of Carson being a predator. And that's the general public's image of Carson, unfortunately. I'm assuming he will eventually make a response, but we'll see how that goes. Thank you guys for watching. We're almost at 500 subscribers whenever I'm recording this, and I cannot appreciate the support enough as of recent. Knowing that people genuinely care about me and my content is pretty cool, and it makes me happy. Also, subscribe to Phantom. He has helped me out a lot with this video, and like me, he is also close to 500 subs. So it would mean a lot if you can go and support him. If you like my videos, you will like his too. Frog supremacy. We are superior. Fuck every other race. They're all mega gay.
I regret everything I've said. I regret every action, and I'm sorry to the people I've disrespected. And I know in my heart there's no way for you guys to forgive me, but I can't sit here and not try. I can't sit here and watch as the entire internet sits there and judges me for my every action. And I know I fucked up. I know I fucked up, and it's unbelievable that I would have the gall to do that. And I hate myself for it. But here we are. So fuck me, right?